Hello, 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 and welcome to Soul Sisters. Let me turn off. I think that's up. Yes. Welcome to Soul Sisters. I'm so glad that you join us today on this happy Saturday. I have with me just one of my sisters here, dear Pastor Barbara Jackson, and we both say hello. We asking you in the very beginning to like and share if you hear anything to hear that you think that your other sisters might enjoy. Please share. Remember, this is a network for women in ministry. Our aim and our goal is to uplift sisters everywhere, to empower us to do more and be more, and encourage us that the sky is the limit if we only just try it. Amen. And so many of our sisters, as you can see, are out today. They're out enjoying the Saturday. I won't say if they're out celebrating, but they're out enjoying themselves. One of them is kind of under the weather a little bit. But we're just happy to be here with you. How you doing, Sister Barbara?
I am doing well. Can everybody hear me pretty good? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. I am doing well. This has been a very relaxing day for me. We chose not to do any grilling. Instead, we did have ribs. And I cooked some fixing along with that. So it's been a relaxing day. I worked a little bit today, and so it's been a day that I've been longing for a very long time.
Okay. Because you just started a new job, right?
Right.
You've been hustling a little bit, right?
Long hours.
Long hours.
Yeah. To work a part day and then relax for the rest of the day. I'm just enjoying milking it. And there's no grandchildren. No grandchildren in the house. So that's a plus. So what
but
about
you love those grandbabies. I don't even know why you even act like that.
I do. I enjoy my breaks for real. I do enjoy my breaks.
Okay, amen. I'm doing good. My husband and I cooked. My husband cooked out yesterday, grilled some things. So we had today pretty much relaxing. I made a little salmon salad, but basically we just kind of laid around the house and just chilled out and enjoyed the rest and relaxation. It's crazy because all of our kids, are grown like yours are. You got grandbabies, but they're grown. Your kids are grown. So it's like everybody's doing their thing. So I'm like, we didn't really even have to grill. We could have just made us a sandwich and chill out,
Right. When you get our age, we really don't have to do it as much cooking as we did before. When our kids were young, what we did, we prepared these meals and, make sure they do their bath time, their homework. These are the moments that listen, these are the days that they told me back then. I was like, okay, this is worth it. I didn't know that day was going to come. But we are milking it now, and I'm really enjoying it, really, because I told my husband just the other day, we really don't have to go grocery shopping. We just order out and bring the food in. That's our meal.
Right. But now it's hard to break habits. If you're used to cooking like big meals, like who makes like a salad for two? Who makes, chicken for two?
I have an issue with that. I still do that. I made a pot of collard greens. You would have thought I got a couple of leaves, but I made a huge pot. Look at Hannah, and nobody's here to eat it from me and Dad.
It's not going to go to waste because I eat leftovers, and collard greens that's leftovers taste better the next day than they do on the day that you make them. So that's not the problem. But, it's just going to the store and doing a grocery shopping. I still shop as though I got like 5 people in the house, and it's not really necessary.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So there's a lot of people are really preparing meals and grilling and, getting ready to fire, to see the fire. What you call it? Explosive of fires. What you call those things?
Fireworks.
Yeah, that's what it is. Fireworks. I used to bring my kids when they was I forgot the name of it. It's been so many years. When my kids were small, I used to bring them to the park and the area that we lived in, and they would love to just see it. Now these days, I can't stand hearing them.
Yeah, me either. Me either. Me either. I stopped going a long time ago. That was when we was young and the kids wanted to go and see all the fireworks. Once they became teenagers, young adults, they take Deja, they do whatever with Deja, and I'm home chilling out, reading a book in an air conditioned room, trying to get some rest. We did it when we had to do it.
Exactly.
How do you feel about the celebration of the 4th of July?
You know what? I've lost the interest of July 4th. It's just never, it hasn't been the same for a while for me. Especially during this moment in time and the climate that we're living in now. What are we celebrating July 4th for? I was fooled as a young girl. I was fooled that July 4th was the day that we celebrate independence, and really, actuality, we wasn't free.
Right. Yeah. I felt the same way. I definitely feel the same way. I'm not mad at, and I don't want people to think I'm mad, and I'm sure you're not either, of those that do celebrate it, because it's their independence. So just like we celebrated June, 10th, they're celebrating. So there's no anger. There's nothing like that. Nothing like that. It's just, and it's just not our holiday, but I respect that it's your holiday and that's what you're doing. Just like those that respected us celebrating Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? So did you get a chance to read my post on my Facebook page?
Yes, can you share it with our Soul Sisters audience, because that was so powerful.
And it's amazing that I wrote it in 2013, and it's just it's like, I think it's more relevant, maybe not relevant.
More so, you just got to add more names.
Yes, I know, a lot more. That is so relevant for the right now. For the right now. I'm going to try to read a little bit of it. Let me say.
Do that.
Okay.
Get ready. I want you guys to do us a favor. I want everybody to share it on your news feed, because she's going to read a story that she'd written years ago, and it's just so prevalent for today. And I'm telling you, it really blessed me. I told her she needs to put this in a book, because it is so precise. It talks to the heart of every African-American individual, because I think that we can echo and we can agree that we feel the same way. And so can you share it?
Okay, I'll try. Let's see how far I get through this. Okay. It's on my other laptop, so I'm still looking over here on the other side. Okay.
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 Here we go. I'll go ahead and share so everybody can come on. Everybody sharing, because sharing is caring. I'm going to share it on my platforms, and I want you to do the same thing, because I know, Hannah, I want you to pay attention, because you may learn something from this.
Here we go. I wrote this in 2013. Liberty, justice, and freedom. What are these three words that they should provoke such an emotion that one wants to go, to do, to be, to conquer? Exciting in the hope and the passion that sprouts up and embody one from a thrill within. When I was a young girl, I remember proudly singing the Pledge of Allegiance. Standing tall, head held high, I crossed my arm over my chest, placing my right hand on my heart, I sang. I remember the celebration of my first bicentennial year like it was yesterday. Sitting in Philip Schuyler Elementary School in the 4th grade class, I proudly colored my big 7-6 banner, red, white, and blue. That year in school, we learned what would be one of my favorite songs during that time. This land is your land, this land is your land, from California to the Redwood Island. I felt so a part of the inspiration that our country was in a great nation that I believed it was at the time. I remember in high school, I stood on the football stands in the freezing cold while sleeting rain poured down on us, and I proudly sang the national anthem. When singing it, it was as if I was there in the midst of the war, in the midst of the bombs and the gunfire, holding up the flag, rejoicing that I survived the night, drunk with the knowledge that I was still alive and that we won.
Wow.
Since those glorious years, I had many rude awakenings, living nightmares, some might call them. that raped and robbed me of my virginal innocence, tearing me asunder. I woke up in a bed of hell, a dark place, but I was alone, but not alone. There was others around me that looked like me, but was not me. Some was crying, and some was screaming, and some just sat there alone with a far off look on their faces. A look of hopelessness, a look of daze in confusion, a lack of understanding, questioning why they were deceived and why were they made to believe the lie. There was these monkey-like creatures there too, hopping in and out, hopping all around us, one foot to the other, laughing and hackling like they were a part of some wild, unorthodox circus. They wore all black. Their faces and hands were black too. Everything was black except the oversized reproduction of their lips and the white of their eyes. Shaking a long, slim finger at us in a deep, guttural voice like that of Yogi the Bear, they sang, "I told you so, I told you so, I told you so." I wanted to scream. I did cry. I covered my ears with my hands. I closed my eyes as tight as I could, and I tried to drown out the noise and confusion that surrounded me and lose myself and get away. I wanted to go home. I wanted to go back to Kansas. I wanted to leave this hell called Oz. As I sat there in the nasty, infested bed of broken dreams, understanding came to me in a flood of many injustices that my race experienced here in the United States and still experience. And I found that no matter how tight I closed my eyes and cover my ears, I could not drown out these living nightmares. They randomly came to me in flashes of white that contrasted the darkness that I was in, with dates and times running through my mind. 1991, the severe beating of Rodney King by LA police officers. 1995, Mississippi just ratifies the 13th Amendment, abolishing slavery after rejecting it in 1865. 1981, Mobile, Alabama jury acquits a black man of killing a white police officer, and in turn, the Ku Klux Klan members the same day randomly kidnapped and killed a 19-year-old black man, hanging him from the tree. 2007, Turner County High School in Ashburn, Georgia, holds its first integrated prom. 1980, Miami police officer acquitted of the violent beating of Arthur McDuff to death. 2007, Geico commercial suspiciously racist. 1994, Denny's restaurant chain pays a settlement to African Americans who sued after being denied service because they had to wait on their white customers. 1973, a young black girl sued Montgomery, Alabama for sterilizing them without knowledge and consent. 1989, Yusuf Hawkins, a 16-year-old black boy, is murdered in Bensonhurst, New York by a mob of 30 whites who wrongly believed that he was visiting a white girl in the neighborhood. 2007, 5,000 people in Jena, Louisiana protested the attempted murder and persecution of 6 black teens for fighting with students who hung a noose on a tree in their school campus. 2011, Troy Davis executed in Georgia despite recant witness statements and a global campaign for reconsideration due to his innocence. 2009, Justice of the Peace Louisiana refused to marry an interracial couple because of their race, and later acknowledges that he denied marriage license to interracial couples for years. 1999, Cracker Barrel provides a settlement of $7 million lawsuit to African Americans. November 2002, Coca-Cola has a lawsuit for discrimination. Wells Fargo has a lawsuit for profiling for mortgages for African Americans. 2013, we know George Zimmerman was acquitted for the murder of Trayvon Martin in Florida. In 1999, in New York City, in 1999, New York City police were acquitted in Albany, New York, of the charges of 41 shots, to which 19 struck and killed an unarmed Black man. Tiger Woods, fried chicken, Serena Williams, inhumane football, quarterbacks, baseball, hockey. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I scream. I cannot take it anymore. Every ship doesn't make it through the night. I know that there has been casualties on the road of justice, liberty, and freedom throughout history and time. Storms of injustice, typhoons of prejudice, tidal waves of biasness in all forms has destroyed Jews, Irish, Scottish, Muslims, Asians, and more, killing many that have traveled the sea in hope of these three ideas. We mourn those that have lost. We grieve over the many needless deaths. We lamentate over the ignorance that those that could not see beyond their nose. However, isn't every birth one experience pain? Isn't the product of travailing a new life? Visually seeing the harsh contrast of injustice to the wholesome idea of liberty encourages us to do better. Martin Luther King had a dream. It was no new dream. It was the same dream of our forefathers revitalized for all Americans. He knew what he was up against. He knew the harsh reality of the situation of America in the day for what it was. He knew that he would not live to see the dream that he spoke of fulfilled. Yet through his reality and his imminent death, he did not stop from holding up the dream and passing it on. It is through his dream of hope that we now live to see or have had, that this was 2/3 a Black president. Have we arrived at our destination? Have we reached our pinnacle of a vision? Absolutely not. I know sometimes it seems like there's more prejudice than ever before, but we are seeing change, and seeing such, we must still have hope. For if we have not hope, we are men most miserable. Was my pride misplaced? Was my feelings of possessiveness for country and land improper? Not at all. Liberty, justice, and freedom are ideas that our country was built upon. The Constitution, our vision statement of what our forefathers hoped and desired were for the new nation. It is on these ideas and this vision that has brought us this far. It is our beacon that calls us to it in the night, to lead us to a land where our dreams can become a reality. Yes, but despite knowing this, I still cannot sing the songs that I once loved. The words will not pass my lips, no matter how much they beat in my heart. Yes, they are still inside me, luring me to unite with them once again, but I cannot. I guess I still need time. I need time to recover from the rude awakening that robbed me of my innocence. I wish things were different. I wish I could forget. Sometimes I still wish I could go back and float once again in that utopia of ignorance, but I cannot. The truth is, I cannot sing the songs again until the ideas in which I was sold, freedom, justice, and liberty, becomes a reality to us all. That's it, kid.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like I wrote that 2013, and then I was in a writing class, and it just, and you know me. I'm not I'm not really, I'm not argumentative. At least I don't think I am.
No.
I'm not, really, I can be Black power, but I'm not really in your face with it per se. And so at this time in 2013, I was really trying to understand and put everything in my emotions together per se. And so in the writing class, they were telling us to write every day, regardless what you're feeling, just write your emotions, just pour it all out. And so literally, I wrote this. The base of it, I woke up one day, had the writing assignment that day. I woke up that morning and I just started writing, and everything from the monkeys jumping to the dreams to Flash, it just all just started rolling out of me. And so I didn't even realize myself how much that was pent up inside of me. But it just came out. I didn't realize the hurt. I didn't realize the pain, that was there. And I think it was Dr. DeGregory, forget her first name. She talks about the pain that's innate in many African Americans, the pain that was, it's a process that it goes from generation to generation, that it's something that's within our mothers and fathers that they have suffered, and it can go on and pass on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I didn't realize the pain and things that was there until I started writing and then identify with it. And I think that a lot of us, we know how we feel about the injustice. We know that it's not a good feeling. We know that the struggle within, but we have never really put it into words. You know what I'm saying? And so, putting into words make it visual. And I think that's why it touches a lot of people, because they see it and
they can relate to it.
You
really actually dealt with the emotion that most African and Black and brown people feel. Mm-hmm. But I want to ask you a question. That monkey, what do you think that monkey symbolize? What is that?
Well, through even today, let me just be transparent. Even today, as we are on Facebook, Instagram, and things like that, again, I'm a subtle person. I might know some things, but I don't just jump out and say them. I don't, try to make, people feel bad about themselves, because everybody is not in the same place at the same time. Just because truth has been revealed to me doesn't mean truth has been revealed to you. And because it's not, I'm not going to treat you or disrespect you because you haven't got there, because one day I was not there. Okay. So you see sometimes on Instagram and YouTube, and, they say, well, you're in the darkness, you're still in the black, you still, blind, and they lessen who you are as a Black individual, African American, because you're not jumping on their bandwagon and seeing life through their eyes, and putting up all these harsh reality quotes, and so they try to make you feel inferior because of what knowledge they have and you don't. Okay, so I think, when I said the monkeys were jumping, I think it was a reflection of all those people throughout the year, even when I was in darkness, that kind of like, like I said, that's why I said, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. They were the ones that was jumping around talking about, so, you're this, you're that, forcing it down your throat, forcing it down your throat. I told you, so, and sometimes it's the way you present it. Even Christianity, even in our faith, we are love. We're supposed to show love. We are love, And so therefore, there's certain things that I believe is right and everyone should participate in it. But it's not for us to shove it down their throats. It's not for us to judge people and say, if you're not doing this and you're not doing this way and you're not having this, then you're not right. That's not how you win souls. And it said, it takes wisdom to win souls. And so even if you know something, it's how you give the information.
Yeah, how you present it. Yeah.
Right. And so I think when I said, that's why it was like they were Black, and with the Y saying, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. You know how people are after you do something and they figure out, they go, I told you so, I told you so. So I think that was, and they weren't making the problem any better. We came into the light and now we see, and we're sitting here crushed and we don't understand. And then you have these people going, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. That's not what we need to uplift each other. We need positive support. We need, understanding of what people go into. And then once they get to a certain place, then to help them cross over as efficiently and as well as they can, Yeah. So that's where that really came from.
Okay.
And so part of this too, and I think I mentioned this one other time when I was on a line that I did. From there, I went on and I got my master's degree in African American Studies, because let me go back. When you go through public school in America, public school in America is whitewashed, meaning that it's at their perspective. It's not as the African American perspective. Malcolm X said, "Why would you let your enemy teach your child? Because you're giving them information, their perspective." And so after blacks was inducted into the public school system, we had a right to integration with the public school, Brown versus Brown, and we integrated. What they did not realize is when we integrated, they did not change their schooling. They did not change the concepts, the books that they were reading, study, what they were presenting. We integrated into their school system. However, in integrating with their school system, they still taught us everything in their perspective. You see what I'm saying? Because they didn't want to hear exactly. So being integrated, Brown versus Brown, yay, we conquered, but conquering was not enough, because if the system was rejecting us, and we went from schools that were taught by African Americans that loved us and they nurtured us and they helped us cross over and they gave us the education and they taught us how education was a part of freedom and you needed to connect it with one another. We went from that into a space where we was not wanted and we were taught their education, and then we were looked down on, and if we didn't get it right away, we were judged because of it. You understand? And so now we see, and this is back in the 60s, now we see that how the public education, how it advanced whiteness. They talked about Christopher Columbus and George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. Those were the great hopes. Those were the kings and queens, per se, of America, and that we should look up to them. However, it was their perspective. That's how they seen it. Despite us now being integrated in a school, nothing changed for us to benefit, to help build us. And so now you look at it, and I don't know why we're going all this way, but now you look at it and you go, so what's happening in our school system? What's happening with our children? Why our children are not being successful in school? You have to look at, okay, they start off in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, they're successful. But however, when they get to kind of fifth and sixth grade, they start falling off. They don't see anything. There's nothing in the system that builds them up.
Right. It doesn't look like them.
Right. But the person in the mirror.
Right.
And unfortunately, those that do become successful have to become whitewashed themselves in order to make it in that system. And so, yes, they honor, yes, and I'm not saying all, because people go, not everybody, I'm talking about the general masses. You become whitewashed, you start seeing things and understanding things their way. So therefore, you're walking the street and they don't understand why they're being pulled over. I'm a good kid, because it's not about you being a good kid. And that's what you don't understand. So basically, kind of the story kind of portrays, the feeling of being whitewashed. Yes, Brown and Brown versus Brown. Right. Thank you, Laretha. Brown versus the Board of Education. That's what it was. Brown versus, I'm just talking really fast. And so now we understand and we see how the system. So that's something we really have to do. As we talk about Black Lives Matter, we really have to be a part of our education board, write letters, in the schooling stuff, and see that education, a perspective, not necessarily a Black perspective, but true perspective. People say, should we have Black education? Should they have to take Black history? No, a school should not have to take Black history. I don't think. History for what it is. Yeah. Well, for history, if you just tell the truth of the matter, then you don't need a Black history. You just tell history.
History.
Yes, yeah, history as it is, and like I said, I don't really knock Americans for celebrating the 4th of July. Thumbs up, great for them. This is their holiday, but I do not celebrate Columbus Day, and I stopped celebrating Columbus Day years ago. And if they change it to original American holiday to celebrate the Indians, I will definitely jump on board and support that. But this is American holiday. This is like apple pie hot dogs. Go for you. But I'm not mad at you. But it's just not really a celebrated day for us because we were still bound at that point.
So as you was reading that, my emotions went like a roller coaster. It's like a roller coaster ride. And you so eloquently shared your thoughts, and your thoughts mirrors what so many people, as I first stated before, feels the same way. And you said you've written it in 2013. Here is 2020, and there's no change. It's still killing is still happening. People still suing because of their unfair act that's happened on jobs and stores and different things that you shared earlier. And I'm just wondering, where do we go from here? Are we being satisfied because they now changing, giving us a holiday, Juneteenth as a holiday? Should we just pause and say, okay, we accomplished something? Or do we still need to march forward and embark on tables that can affect changes in our community, local government, to our state government, to our federal government? We have so much work to do, Grace. And I think we can't settle for a holiday. We can't settle because we got a month in 12 months to celebrate African American. 1 month? Are you serious? And what I love about what you said, when I had the opportunity to substitute at a middle school, I noticed in the social studies books, nothing has changed in the books. The books, information about the same stories when I was a young girl, which means there's nothing in those books that mirrors us, what we have accomplished as a people, which tells me that we got to start with the Board of Education. There's some work that we must do, and we cannot sleep on what's going on. Now, I'm not telling anyone to go out and start shooting and breaking in stuff.
Absolutely not.
That's not the solution. The solution is get an education, get a good job so you can provoke change, so you can be the voice that can sit at tables that will make changes for a community, for an education curriculum, or you can be a part of a government body that that can change things to the benefit of all people. Black lives matter, everybody, women, rights matter, all of this matters. But if we don't do anything, the same, I think Pastor C mentioned in one of her posts that we celebrate when, people celebrate when they had these same-sex things, and they went and started changing the stuff in the books, in the school books, so the kids can learn about these things. But what about African American people, the heritage? Are this information getting in the book? And if it's not getting in the book, what do we need to do to get it in the book so that lives and our children, I got grandchildren coming behind me. I got grandbabies coming behind me. I want them to know about the heritage of African American. I want them to know, and our efforts today, I'm not going to say we're old, but we have the opportunity to share and sit at these tables to provoke change. And I think we must take advantage of that.
You're right. And I think that's kind of a reason why we went to a stalemate, kind of, because we just went to sleep. Okay, we were able to get a job. We were able to go to a restaurant. We was able to eat dinner where we wanted to eat. And so we kind of got complacent. And despite the things that was happening to us, we was just like, just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. And because we let it go and we did not persist, we did not carry the torch after Malcolm died, and after Martin Luther King died, after Booker T. Washington and W.E. Du Bois and so forth. After Marcus Garvey, after they passed, no one literally took up the torch and said, we have to commit to this. We kind of got complacent. And there's different reasons why we got complacent. We can say that we got complacent because most of them was murdered, killed. And so therefore fear kept us. And that it was a technique that was utilized to keep us in fear, foothold down. So we understand that. And so then the education and they're only giving us so much education. So it lulls us to sleep. And what you said, when you think about it, and I anyone out there that's listening to me, you let me know if this isn't true in your area. We went through high school. We had history in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. We had to take Regents exams in history. It was a requirement. And we learned European history, Indian history. We learned about China. We learned about Turkish. We learned every history was in the books except African history. So how could the population in the school be 50-50 or 40-20, whatever it is, and no African history located in the book at all? I mean, nothing. So, that is a wide gap that somebody needs to address. Like, why is our history so? It's not just in New York. I talked to many different people and they go, no, they didn't learn African history, African-American history either. So why are we disconnected? Why? Because we have not been taught, and our parents didn't teach us. Why? Because they weren't taught. It's from generation to generation. I can't give
you. If their grandmother didn't tell them, they didn't know.
I can't give you what I don't have. I can't give you. If those things weren't given to me, I can't give it to you. So therefore, now that we understand that it wasn't given to us, now that we understand that it's not in the classroom, we just, like Pastor C said, we have to start being motivated. And we can't, and Dr. Brenda Robinson, when she was on a couple weeks ago, she said we have to know why we're marching. We just can't march to march. We have to know why we're marching. I'm marching to put our education system, or put our education system that is well-rounded, that is not just one-sided, that both perspective or all perspectives or the truth is taught, not just one side. So therefore, we judge, our white citizens and our white brothers and sisters, we judge them and we say, well, they don't understand what we're going through. But technically, they went through a school system just like we went through. And we didn't tell them anything about us. So they don't know about our pain. We can't express our pains. They don't know about our pain. Why? Because they went through an education system that taught them about France, that taught them about the British War, that taught them about the kings and queens, of Ireland and so forth, and Turkish wars and stuff, taught them all of that, but didn't teach anything about what the African American has went through. And so, you can't blame that they're ignorant. They don't know.
But the reality of all that as well is that the Caucasian don't know about anything about African American and the heritage.
That's what I'm
they
saying.
Don't know either.
They weren't taught. Where were they going to get the information? Their parents weren't going to tell them. Their parents don't know either. So it's a broken system, and we have to be on our P's and Q's. We have to be on our toes to make sure that no, it's not just about a day. I'll take the day. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take the day. I'll take the holiday day.
Right. It's not just about the day, because we need change in the White House. We need change in the government. We need change with the laws. We need change in the police department. We need change in the education system. We need change in the medical field. We need to infiltrate every single part of all these different departments. And then that's when we'll finally see, liberty, justice for all, that everyone can sing those songs that we remember so well.
Yes. I would love to ask you, what do you think that needs to happen to provoke change? Can anybody share with us what you feel? Because there's so much to do there, and I shared it on the platform before, that we need to be a part of our local community. We need to know what's going on, and we need to sit at the table. We need to sit at the table. And I really believe that we all have our circle of influence. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's people that will listen to what we have to say. And the problem, I believe, is because we're frozen We've been frozen for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the perfect time to voice what you feel so that you can bring change in your community.
Right. And identify what you want. You know, it's not just voicing like I'm not happy because racism. Identify, you know, in education, identify what needs to be done, because you can scream all you want to, but until you stop and talk, you know, that people can understand what is your frustration, you're not going to get anything done.
And you know what? I believe that kind of prejudice that happened even in African and American individual for so many years. Because if you watch it, how when a person, and I'm not saying everybody, so nobody take me to the grave for this, but it seems like when we get into position, and I want to make sure you can hear me, we get in a position, we have a tendency to overlook the other people of our color and pick someone else. But if you notice, people with different color skins always extend to pull them in.
Yeah.
Why do we, Lady Grace, is not willing to lift up our sister and our brother? I don't understand that. We feel like we own it and you know, it's mine. And in order for this department to work successfully, I have to get somebody on a different race. I have to get somebody else because our people can't do the job, or what we have our own prejudice, the reason behind why we don't do it. What are your thoughts about that?
I think what I kind of said in the beginning, that we grew up in a system that was whitewashed. And so for us, many of us, as we succeed, we became mentally, although on the outside we of color, we are whitewashed. So we see, and our perspective is that of a Caucasian or white American. Why? Because I grew up in that system and I took on their identity. You see what I'm saying? And so therefore, we might judge them saying, look at them, you know, what they're doing, but they've been whitewashed. Their education and what they were first exposed to placed them in a position to think like that. And so, you know, I'm not always quick to judge because I understand how it was built. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why we really have to be a part of our children's education and educate them from a very young age and let them know their heritage, their people, and they still it. Because there's some people that made it to the top that know who they are. You know, I went to school that said their parents taught them from a child. You know, my parents didn't teach me, but some of them did. So, you know, for those that did not, you know, they was a part of the same system that we were a part of. And so therefore, you know, they were whitewashed. And so that's what they do and think. But when you hear the truth, or you hear the word and you receive the word, then you can live. Yeah. I think Pastor Cynthia is in the house. She's jumping on right now. Hey, Pastor C. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're just talking about things that concerning the 4th of July and how we feel, and you know, what's happening and how it's applicable to kind of things that are happening around us today. So how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. As long as everybody's good, I'm good.
Okay.
Enjoying Jesus, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Since I found him, I'm feeling mighty happy.
Okay, good, I guess. Okay.
You got the missing link.
And she has on blue today. Okay. But I also wanted to share something that is important to me in regarding to African history. When I started my journey and I was thinking of my first question was whether I was African American or whether I should be classified as Black American, right? And a lot of Americans feel that way. Like, why should I connect myself to Africa? And why can't I just say I'm a Black American? And I thought that at one time too. Okay, so here's the difference. Okay, when you say that you're African American, that connects you to a body of people. When you say I'm Black, that's like what is it called? A spin-off. I forgot. A mutation. Let's say of what you were once. For example, When people come over here from France, they're French Americans. They come from China, they China Americans. They come from Dominican, they Dominican Americans. So what's the significance there? When something happened to people over here that they're from China, China pays attention. You see what I'm saying? Something that say Chinese was over here being persecuted. China stands up and pay attention like, wait a minute, what are you doing to our people?
Right.
When something happened to maybe French people that are now over here in America, France stand up and go, what's happening? Ireland, Irish over here, they connect to their homeland. They stand up and say, wait a minute, what's happening? You see what I'm saying? Russia, I'm a Russian American, and they say it proud, I'm Russian American. What they do, and they connecting to Russia. And if the people over here was being persecuted and they were Russian, Russia would stand up and go, what is America doing to our people? You know what I'm saying? By you saying I'm Black American, who's connected to you? Who's standing up for you? Who has a voice for you? You lose your voice. You don't have a connection. You see what I'm saying? When I say I'm African American, that now connects me to a place that people can stand up and say, what is happening to my people? You see what I'm saying? And so that's why Pan-African Marcus Garvey tried to implement, or he's implemented Pan-African for Africans across the country that was displaced from Africa. People in Bahamas, in Mexico, in France, in England, they're African, they were displaced. And while how our ancestors came to America, theirs went to the island, theirs went to England, theirs went to different other places, but they're from Africa. So once you understand that we're all Africans, American, African English, African French, African Dominican, then we understand we can connect together in ownership, and therefore us together as a body of people can stand up and say, no, wait a minute, that's my sister, that's my brother. So that's the difference between claiming I'm an African American or I'm a Black American.
Okay.
I love it. Everybody want to be owned. Everybody want to fit in.
You want a connection, and that's why many of us are looking up our ancestry and ancestry.
Yeah, my husband doing it. He's been doing it for a while.
We want to connect with someone.
Yeah.
And so good evening, Melanie. Oh, good evening. And so therefore, it connects us with somebody, and connecting with somebody, then we have a people that can solidify us and say, that's my people. Those are my people.
You have an alliance. You got a group of people that know you, know your character, know your culture.
Yeah. So you know how you was in school. I don't know. The Rumps is a large family. So you know how you in school and somebody jump bad with you. Somebody jump bad with you. And you like, yo, my cousin, my uncle, you maybe not your uncle, my cousin, my sisters, my brothers, they outside. I ain't even worried about this.
Right.
Because I got a connection. I'm not all by myself.
Yeah. And can I say this, Grace? Like, I was born in Dayton, Ohio. My father was from Little Rock, Arkansas. My mother's from Detroit. They met in Detroit. So we moved to Ohio. When I came here, I was a baby. And so for my whole life, practically, we had like that much family. So everybody to us was, the church family. But as I got older, I needed to connect with people that had my blood, that looked like me, that thought like me, that could understand me because I could understand them because we all come from the same. And so it's the same way with African Americans. We want to be connected to people. And I didn't get the whole beginning, but I think now everybody is saying, can't we all connect together? Can't we all do this together? Why do I have to be in my little corner? Like coming from a big family, sometimes, my siblings' children felt like it's us against the world. It's them against, and they didn't understand. No, you can't. We are stronger together. We're stronger together. We might fuss and fight. We may not understand each other all the time, but everybody want to be connected and understand. When I do a certain thing, I want to understand, oh, that was from mama or that was from daddy. So as a whole, we want to know each other. We want to know that when the chips are down, we're all going to jump to it. We don't have to act crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could whisper in each other's ear and say, hey, this is how you fight. I said to somebody today, they was rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, ugh. And I said, you know, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
That's
and
good.
I said at a time in my life where I was just rah, rah, rah. And sometimes I can go there, but I try not to go there all the time. And but I went and brought this book that says, how do you talk so somebody will listen? And I realized that I was rah, 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 rah. All this was in my head, and I need to get it all out. Barbara know, because sometimes I'm rah, rah, but thank God it's not destructive to like it used to be. Right? I know how to pull it in, but we all have our moment where we need to rah, rah.
Right.
But we learn how to communicate as not to be so offensive to one another. This is a time where mental strain, I don't want to call it mental illness, where it's a COVID mental strain has hit our nation, and none of us know the answer.
No.
And so when you don't know the answer, that says, I need you more than you know. A lot of times we are disconnected. You know what I mean? We try to form groups and, hey, maybe I fit here, maybe I fit there, and it goes so far. But we need to get together because we have another generation that's watching us, our witness, right? And we want to leave them a legacy of knowing what it means to be whole and not broken, not to be a family in pieces, not to be a culture in pieces, not to be a church in pieces. I need that mean usher. I might need her to fight for me one day with her mouth. You know what I mean? I need that mean sister because it brings the balance, right? You need that discipline. Sometimes we need to cry because it brings us back together. But at the end of the day, we're teaching another generation how to fuss and fight, but yet come back together. We ain't got to tear up each other's buildings, right? We ain't got to tear up somebody's business. We just need to know how to communicate and stick together.
Yeah. Listening is a very a significant part of what's going on today. Because you know we can yell and scream, but people don't. Okay. I remember them. I know what time. I remember when Bianca was a little girl, and she was maybe like 2 or 3, and we went to New York City. And Bianca was a very good baby. She didn't cry. She didn't cry at all unless something was wrong. She didn't cry. So we're coming from New York City and we're driving. And, she's screaming like she's in pain. And I'm driving, my mother's sitting over there and she's in the car seat. I don't know what's wrong with Bianca. And she's screaming and screaming and screaming. So as soon as I get off the George Washington and I pull over, on 17 for McDonald's, and I'm trying to find out what's wrong with this child. She's screaming. And so I start taking her clothes off and stuff like that. And when I start taking her clothes off, I take her shoes off. Soon as I took one of her shoes off, she stopped crying. So the problem was maybe her shoe was in there. You know how you put your shoe on wrong and your foot in there and it's hurting. She was crying. So what I'm trying to get at is sometimes we're screaming, and then people don't understand what's wrong, because they can't understand screaming. They know we're in pain, but they don't know what's wrong. And so sometimes we have to take the time to stop the screaming and articulate what our feelings are, why our feelings are what they are, so people can understand. And then maybe, because Bianca couldn't talk, she couldn't say, my shoe. She was like young, maybe she wasn't 2, but she wasn't talking. She couldn't say my foot, mommy, my foot, But sometimes, we have to take the time, because some people right now, people want to hear. There's a lot of people that have joined hands with African Americans in this fight that we're in right now. They understand and see that it's going to take all of us together. It's not going to be it's the African American fight. No. It's everybody's fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So it's all of our fight. And so now they're willing to help out. And if they're willing to help out, then we have to explain to them what we're feeling and why we're feeling it. So they can understand.
We have to seize this moment. This is what you call a pivotal part, a time of our life. because we're in the sandwich generation. We're dealing with the senior citizen, which is our parents. Some of them passed on, and then we have our children. And so if we don't take this time and seize this moment, if we're going to rely on our children to do it, it may not get done. And I think we can just open the door for them to walk through it. This is our time to do it, and we got it.
And you know, we are role models. I'm in this thing where we have to realize there's another generation coming, and they are as strong as we allow them to be. And so with all of this crazy going on, injustice, Black Lives Matter, today, I think it was one of my daughter or somebody said, listen, one of your grandchildren is out there saying, I hate white people. I hate white people. And so, but I'm glad that she heard him. So I can seize the moment.
Right. Make it an educational experience. Exactly.
Right.
You don't know what
children learn. They learn what they live, what they're hearing. We're not always around. We don't know where they get all this. We don't know when they see the news, their little moment that they click in and they grab something, right? And they see a police with their knee killing somebody. We don't know what they're thinking.
Exactly.
Right? They're looking at two different colors and they see what he did. They don't fully understand, but all of a sudden they build up, this thing. And we have to teach them we are stronger together. One person does not represent the masses, right? And it's how we convey our anger and our demand. We can't keep talking about it. I believe Pastor Christina Staten said it. She said we can't just keep talking. We got to be the movement.
Yeah.
Not watch the movement, right? And ask, well, what happened? When did that happen? How did that happen? We have to be the ones, the women of God, that says, hey, we got in the schools. As Pastor Barbara said, our voice must count for something. It have to count somewhere. We're not just living holy, righteous lives just to say, hey, I'm holy. No, we have to go in and be influential. In laws and government, we gotta make an impact. Come on.
Yeah. And I just want to jump in right there just to really make that clarify what Pastor Cynthia was saying. And to add to it, we really have to speak to our young kids. They don't understand what's going on. They're out there protesting with us, Black Lives Matter, and they don't understand the connection that we're not teaching hate. We're not teaching hate, and even when they watch TV, we don't know what they're internalizing. You're right. We don't know. And so if we don't talk to them, they're watching this man with a knee on his throat again and again and again and again, and they're internalizing this, and they don't know what to do with those feelings that they have. And so we need to make sure we speak to our young people and sit down and talk. Again, talking is very necessary. Talk to them about what they hear, what they see, and express what's going on and what we're doing to try to make a difference.
Also, we need to tell them to be aware, because even though that we in this together, Black, white, Chinese, all together, but there's still people that hate African American people and have an agenda to kill us. That's the truth. And so although we want to sing Kumbaya with everybody, but everybody don't want to sing Kumbaya. So we gotta tell our kids and our family and loved ones to be aware.
That's automatic.
Tricks and the trades of the enemy. Anytime a young man can come into a church and kill all these African American people because one day he decided he didn't like them, so I'm gonna go to this Black church and do it. And so we got to understand there's people that has this hatred in their heart, trying to kill off every African American person. And so we need to tell them to be alert. I don't know if y'all heard something. I don't know how true it is. They were saying that during this holiday season that somebody's is going to be coming to these different places and shoot off African American people and all this stuff. But whether it's true or not, the fact is this, that there's still hatred out here. There's still love. We're not going to forget about love, but we cannot forget about the hatred of men, people hating, and we have to be cautious. We have to be walk in wisdom. We got to allow God to lead us and guide us. And I said this all the time to our church and to people that I have influence with, to be alert. We can't be around here just like la, 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 not understanding what's going on, because these are peerless days. These are the peerless times, and we must be prepared.
You're right.
Pastor Barbara, when Nehemiah realized that there was a Sanballat and Tobiah ready to tear down what he had began, to infiltrate the workers with a connotation to stop the work, Nehemiah prepared the people with a weapon in their hand.
I love
right?
it.
And he said, work with your other hand. The Bible tells us to watch as well as pray.
Yeah.
And we are in some times where we cannot afford to just be in la la land. We can't. We can't trust everybody because we just don't know. We can't mistreat anybody. We can't. God love everybody. Yeah, right. And we're talking about Black Lives Matter, but we must sound the clarion alarm. We must sound the alarm. She said she can't hear.
I don't know.
You must sound the alarm. Is it somebody else that cannot hear? Because it might be her phone. Somebody else, can you not hear? All right, they can hear because Flossie said that's good, Pastor Anderson. We cannot just afford to talk about black and white. What is most dangerous, right, is our black on black crime.
Yeah, we can't forget about that.
Our white on black crime is isolated incidents. It's huge because it's crazy the way it's happening. All right. But we must go back to the home. I said to my children today, it is imperative that as adults and as grandparents, we sit down and have conversations with our grandchildren. With you all got to sit as a family and talk to the children. I said, there's a generation coming up and we're expecting that they know, right? We're expecting that they know what to do, but no, we have to start explaining this stuff. You got to explain about molestation and rape. You got to explain about domestic violence. You have to explain about sharing with one another. What is the importance of it? You have to explain what it means to take care of somebody else's property. When you start putting those things back into the family, then they start valuing life, right? And they're not out to kill somebody because they crossed them. You know, I want to say this. There's a young lady that attended my church for some years and she moved on out of town. But so many times she would come to church and you could see the handprint in her neck. You could see the black and blue marks and all of that. And I want to say just before she moved, she came into the church and I promise you, I just wanted to drop to the floor. And I looked at her and I said, how long? How long are you going to stay there until he kill you? I would get calls at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I would say, put him on the phone. And I would just talk to him. I said, she's a woman. She deserves value. Like, her mother didn't raise her for you to hit on, blah, blah, blah. Long story less long, she ended up moving out of town with her dad to get away from this situation because she didn't hatch the soul tie. So she didn't have, we have to talk about soul ties. She didn't have what it took to be in the same city, all right, and stay away because he's the father of 3 of her children. So she moved out of town. But then this weekend, we got the call that he's been arrested, looking at 25 years to life for murder. And all of us said it at different times, different places. It could have been her.
Yeah,
right.
It was, I mean, just imagine somebody walking in your church, a young, little, petite girl, and you see the handprints or he just choked her. And just imagine, you're just looking at the physical mark, but just imagine what she was dealing with as a woman. I got your babies. I'm pregnant with your baby, right? And so we have to be able to get a generation and teach them what it means to value life.
Right.
how to have peer mediation, how to conflict resolution without using your hands.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it all go back to whether it's cultural studies, abuse, and respect for one another. It really must be taught at a young age, because
I
then it's
agree.
instilled in you. If you can take a child, because the same thing we talked about with cultural issues, like I think I posted on my Facebook a couple days ago, a woman was yelling out foul language against Black people, and her kids was in the car yelling it out at the same time, because you're teaching your child that. I remember being in the grocery store, and the little boy was cursing his mother out, and then his mother was like, "I don't know where he get that from. He gets it from home." You see what I'm saying? In violence, if a child is in a home and a child see the father beating their mother, the child become a man thinking that that's what we do. We beat women. You see what I'm saying? So education really has to start from a young age. And if we don't understand as women, and I know we were really talking about, 4th of July and stuff today, but Pastor C is definitely on something here, that we don't understand that when we fuss and fight in front of our children, we're teaching them. So we don't understand that when I'm yelling at my husband, or you're yelling at your husband or your wife, and you're going back and forth, you're teaching them that this is what you do. You see what I'm saying?
And then after you teach them, now you're going to spend your years being the mediator of them and their spouse because of what you taught.
Yeah, because it was a learned behavior. And so until we start understanding this, what we do in front of children, that's what they pick up. They're like sponges. Remember when we were young, and I know we get ready to go. Remember when we were young, our parents used to talk about stuff, and they used to send us out of the room. They used to go,
sure did.
Young grown people talking. They're not here. Grown people are talking. That's not done anymore. As you're sitting around and you having conversation, your kids is in there listening, going like this. Your
and it's all on Facebook too.
All this, why? You're letting them you letting them a part of an adult conversation that they're not mature enough to handle. You might be talking about your sister. You might be talking about Aunt Barbara, so-and-so, but you understand that you still love Barbara. You see what I'm saying? But when you talk around kids taking it from heart. Aunt Barbara doing this, something. So we have to understand that when we engage in what we do, we have to understand that we should make sure no children are around us. Not that we should be doing anything crazy, I'm not saying. But whatever we do, we have to understand we have to protect our children and teach them at a young age about respect for one another and respect for men and women and love for their environment and their home.
I love it.
That's all we have today. We thank you for joining us today. Those that are joining us later on, we thank you. We appreciate you. I know it's a holiday. Many people are out barbecuing and eating and sleeping, and they're not really on.
I'm getting ready for the fireworks.
They're not on Facebook, but we love and appreciate you. And for those that joined us today, thank you. Please feel free to like and share so others can hear what we had to say. I'm sure that it would have been benefit someone. Next week, we're looking to have someone. Please let everyone know that, forget her name, Sister Flossie sent it to me. But we're talking about credit, how to build your credit. A lot of people out there, they have bad credit. We did talk about saving during, thank you, Bonnie, savings during this particular time. However, we want to say how to build credit. People want to know how. So send your questions in. You can send your questions in advance. soulsisters10x@gmail.com, or come prepared with your questions. And the girl, I'm telling you, she's awesome. I listened to some of the things that she had to say on the line with Evangelist Fossey. She understands. She can let you know what you need to do to come out of that hole, come out of that debt, and build your credit. If you want to start a business and you want to get a home, a car, whatever you want to do, you have to do it. You need good credit, and she's going to help you set that path that you can be successful. We thank you.
Dr. Grace, I want to tell them about Heal Me Now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? We have a conference coming up the last weekend of July, and it's called Heal Me Now conference. We want you to register. You're not going to be able to go on Facebook and see it. It's going to be on brushfire.com. We have a plethora of speakers. We have a prayer room, a worship room. We have a children's room. The children are free. You could put them on Brushfire, put them on the TV, and let them be in the room, and it's going to be all kind of activities for them. We have Pastor Barbara Jackson, Dr. Barbara. We have Dr. Grace Thomas. We have Pastor Christina Staten. We have Pastor Teresa Burton. She's going to talk about molestation and rape being within the safe walls of the church, how to make your church safe walls. We have Enrique Holmes, who is a singer, who's going to be with us. We have Sheena Livingston, who is going to be with us. Mama Flake is going to be in the prayer room. Mama Joyce Rufus is going to be in the prayer room. And we just have
Pastor Vicki Allen's going to be in the prayer room.
Pastor Vicki Allen. We have
Pastor
Prophetess
Mary England and Prophetess Janea Lilly and so many others.
Pastor Barbara works with me with this Heal Me Now, and Pastor Jeffrey Mann. We have Apostle Matthew Tillery. We have Pastor Shep from Buffalo. We just have a lineup with different things that we know is going to bless your socks off. The registration is a small $50. You're going to come in on Friday around noon. At noon, you're going to come in. You'll go until late night when Pastor Ruby Holland get done preaching us under our couches and stuff. And then Saturday morning, you're going to come in for prayer. You're going to come in for services. It's going to be breakout rooms where they're going to talk to the married, and they're going to talk to the single, and they're going to talk to the married men and the married women separate. It's going to be wonderful. There's a session for those that are divorced and separated. You're separated, you're going through, somebody walked out and left. Men and women, it's for the whole family. Register. Family affair, right. $50 is nothing. It'll go from Friday to Saturday to Sunday. Amen. So thank you so much. Go to my page, Pastor Cynthia R. Anderson. And I'm going to put the link up, but you can go to brushfire.com and look for Heal Me Now Virtual Family Retreat 2020.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate you once again. Enjoy your week. Until next week. Be blessed. Bye-bye.
Thank you.